Hi, I'm here with Alan Wadsworth, who is the minister of Caton Baptist Church in Lancashire. And Alan, could you tell us what's going on in the life of the church at the moment?
Well, I want to start off with a complaint. Actually, when God shows up, he ruined all my plans. So last week we had some local Ukrainians that decided they were going to do some support for the situation in Ukraine, and we got in touch with somebody and said, if you need a building or something to keep some stuff in, then we've got a bit of space. So Friday I turned up at church, and by the time we left at 9:30 on Friday, not having had any tea, thinking I was only going to be there for 5 minutes, the whole church was covered, the whole sanctuary was covered, everywhere was just covered with bags and nappies and medical supplies and everything else. And then Saturday continued much the same. Every time we cleared a little space, somebody would bring more stuff.
Wow.
And so we packed it all up, boxed it up, and sent it off via Hull, I think, on straight to Ukraine. So it was brilliant.
So your Friday, your weekend looked a little bit different.
Well, I'd planned Sunday night sermon for Friday, so Sunday night service was a bit thrown together.
Yeah, wow.
But it was good.
But it was the right thing to do.
It just came out of nowhere. It's one of those things where you suddenly think, I don't quite know what I've let myself in for here, but I think the brilliant thing was, for me, more than the stuff we collected, it was everybody in the village got involved. Cate's not a big place, only about 3,500 people. Loads of people turned up on Saturday to help. New relationships were formed with people that we've never seen or met before, and in the community we were able to say, look, we're able to help, is there something we can do, and show God's love in action. But it was summed up by my wife speaking to one of the guys, and he said, I've lived in this village all my life, and he must be in his mid-30s, and he said, I've never been into this church before.
Yeah, amazing what can happen when we open our buildings, open our hearts, draw a whole community together in response to what's going on.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you.
Well, the main encouraging thing is we're still here, but more than that, we are feeling stuff is happening again. We've recently reopened our market cafe 2 days a week. Milky coffee. It's certainly something, and that's drawing back those friends we've made through the cafe, and that's just been a great atmosphere there. We started back on monthly lunch clubs. We can't have too many people there. We've got more demand than we can safely meet. But it's just fantastic that we can do these things to bring people back together, especially those who've been lonely and isolated through the pandemic, and just give them decent grub, milky coffee, and good company, and to share something of God's welcome and God's hospitality and God's care for those who've been on their own during this time, to remind them that they're not on their own, and we care for them and God cares for them as well.
I'm here with Helen Bradbury, who is Associate Minister at Farnworth Baptist Church. Can you tell us what's going on at Farnworth at the moment, Helen?
Yeah, just after COVID, we wanted to open up in a good way, as in COVID friendly, but also in a way that was more missional. So we came up with the idea of coffee shop church. You know, we had a couple of false starts because of different regulations. Anyway, we now done coffee shop church a few times, once every other month, and what that involves is we sell, apart from our coffee shop, a limited menu, and the idea is that we can invite people more easily to the service. So it's a recorded service, so we're using what we learned in lockdown with Zoom. Well, not with Zoom, we've recorded and those facilities. So we do that, and then as people will watch, eat, and then we have a little discussion as well on the tables. So as time goes on, it's caught on. The first one was, I'm not sure about this, the members of church, but it seems to be very popular. It's it seems to have worked.
So it's a church service with an added layer of hospitality.
Yes, so that this idea of coming together to eat, which we have done in the past. We done faith lunch, bring share lunch, and it was sort of dwindling. So how can we do? But we wanted to open up in a more COVID-friendly way, so it was quite early on. But also because the regulations were different, and so but it's worked. People have been able to invite people, and people come during the week into that space as well as a result of that.
Well, we're very excited, John, about the life of Oldham Baptist Church. We're slowly coming out of lockdown. Things are getting back to normal, whatever normal was. We're opening our church building again to outside groups, and I feel since I've been here, God has laid on my heart a mission for the homeless of our town. There are quite a few men and women without a home, so very soon we'll be opening a drop-in centre on a Friday afternoon where people can come, have something to eat, have a shower, have a chat, just interact, but just have a safe place to go. So we're excited about that, and what's really encouraged me is that people are getting on board with that, and the sort of people that I wouldn't have thought would at the time, but people are coming together, they're recognising it's time again to step out and reach out and be Christ to the people of Oldham. So that is what I'm excited about, John.
Amazing, fantastic. Thanks for sharing that with us, Arthur.
Okay,
Great to hear
cheers,
from
mate. You take care,
Nice
God
one,
bless.
thanks.